short road section, a special stage of 437 kilometres down to Newark-Chotts. Schlesser and Fontenay were crossing paths as there was absolutely navigational chaos on the stage. However, once Fontenay had got his compass bearings, he found the right way to the finish. Masuoka went the wrong way along with Schlesser, but after the engine was not running on all cylinders throughout the stage, it was discovered that the head gasket was failing. That meant that Servia went on to win as all the others got it wrong. Belgian Stefan Orard had a brilliant third position on the stage with his Volkswagen turbo diesel buggy, whilst Peter Hansel was all in charge of the T1 marathon class. PG Lundmark went like an express train to win, and all of this on a production bike. The Swede teamed up with South Africa's Alfie Cox, but it was the Swede who got the golden medal on the day. Frenchman Francois Flick fell 6 kilometres into the stage, and the leader of the Yakko class was out. Seventh on the stage, but still with a 21-minute lead, Fabrizio Mione was in control of the motorcycles. Stage 12 then, a special stage of as good as 600 kilometres in central Mauritania. The KTMs went to the top of the mountain, and then they had to drop all the way back down again. It was treacherous stuff, but Fabrizio Mione may have been second on the stage, but he was more concentrated on his overall lead of over 20 minutes. Schlesser and Sousa went for it to be first and second on the stage. Whilst at times it was a Dakar caravan of a very modern kind. It was the Frenchman's day though in the end, as he gained the most time and was eating away at the others. Masuoka's 12-minute lead was now 3.5 minutes. Karel Loprace led the trucks in his Tatra from the lone running Kamaz of Vladimir Chagin. But for many, it was a long day and a long night.
Oh, good! Very hardcore today. Ça a pas de sens.
There is no sense. I'm disappointed by the Dakar, as I spend more time working on the bike than riding it. Elizabeth Jacinto was worn out, but others didn't make it. Stage 13 then, a special stage looping round of 513 kilometres from Tajika back to the same venue. It was a day belonging to Masuoka and Tiernan, the pair of them winning by miles. For Tiernan, it was his first stage win after 5 Dakars, whilst Masuoka's lead went from 3 minutes to 21. No change overall, though, for the KTMs, as Mioni had a constant 21-minute lead ahead of Arcarons and De Gavado. The Austrian single-cylinder machines had the top 5 places all to themselves. Second on the stage, but a long way back of Masuoka, Schlesser had a lot of work still to do. Third overall and on the stage, Portugal's Sousa was there, but he had to make up time on the rest. Today is a high level of a stage, very stony with many corners, but we have to concentrate to avoid the stones. Today we just have to finish without losing too much time. It must be one of the hardest stages of the rally. And Kleinschmidt was 100% on the case, but did fall foul of the camel grass. One of the competing KTM trucks ran into serious trouble, rolling onto its side over the Nega Pass. And soon all the troops had to dig in hard. But eventually, all was righted. Stage 14, from Tajika down to Tajik, a super special stage of 230 kilometers. And at the start, KTM's Heinz Kinnegartner was seeing the KTMs off one by one from the start. Tiernan, some 22 hours down overall after engine problems earlier, was given another free rein to go for the stage win, which he duly did by 14 minutes. Deacon got caught up in the camel grass even though he thought he'd done enough to win the stage. So therefore the KTMs were flying in formation over the white sands into Tajit. They took 8 of the top 10 places. The Yakko class, though, was being led by Johnny Campbell.
It's one of those things where you just have to really come and experience it, almost like any desert race. It's an enthusiast sport. You want to experience it yourself. Well, there goes PG. PG's been on a mission all week. He's been having a few troubles. So I just got to let him go because he rides really fast.
Schlesser was all out to the wall and took another win, but with the short stage he could only take 3 minutes 26 seconds off Masuoka. Stage 15, the stage from Tajit, directly 500 kilometers later to Neymar. The crews had little time to view Tajit before the morning off, even if they were travelling by truck. The Chagin Kamaz was no longer in the rally, So that left the Le Prace Tatra to its own devices on the stage, and the overall standings to be way ahead. It was hammer and tongs between Masuoka and Schlesser for the overall lead, but this day was to be for the Japanese by 4 minutes over the Frenchman. 5 days to go, and the Mitsubishi had an overall lead of 38 minutes. Schlesser was in top gear and chasing. Sousa lost valuable time on the stage to see his third position get to within 26 seconds of Kleinschmidt behind him. The KTMs were again travelling nose to tail towards the circus as they passed the Mountain of Elephants. Fabrizio Mioni led overall with a margin of over 22 minutes as he could feel Dakar getting closer day by day. But it was Kari Tiernan who waited 5 years to win a Dakar stage and then won 3 on the trot. You wait for a bus and then 3 come along all at the same time.
Japanese technology.
Stage 16, a 214-kilometre stage from Mauritania into Mali. Masuoka's rally began to fall around him as he had a rear ball joint failure. His 38-minute lead was slipping through his hands, but Fontenay was soon on the scene to help out with spare parts. Anxious moments for all 4 Mitsubishi crew members, even if the car began to fall off the jack with Fontenay underneath it. Eventually, Masuoka finished 29th on the stage.
Oh, just the ball joint is broken. Maybe. So I don't know why. So now we have a repair. So we go continue.
Go, go!
Schlesser didn't realise that this was going on behind him and drove within himself on the stage to close the gap to just 6 minutes and 28 seconds overall. It was getting close. Sousa went hell for leather to win the stage as he battled for his 3rd place overall against the sister Mitsubishi of Kleinschmidt. The T1 marathon class was won by Jérôme Rivière in his Nissan, a brilliant 9th on the stage. But Stefan Pederhansel continued to lead the class overall by over 3¼ hours from his former Yamaha teammate, Thierry Magnaldi. In the bikes, South Africa's Alfie Cox sped to his second Dakar 0-1 win after being frustrated by team orders since the rest day, and of course the retirements of Roma and Sankt. His team, though, were only conserving their domination in the overall standings as the nearest BMW to leader Mioni was 3 3/4 hours back. Stage 17, 370 kilometres from Bamako to Bakel. Starting from 29th, Masuoka's mission was to pass as many cars as possible in the least amount of time. He did, and managed to amazingly only lose 37 seconds to Schlesser, who started 4th on the road. However, it was one of the most controversial days of the event, as Schlesser was then stuck behind Kleinschmidt for 230 kilometres on the narrow Mali roads. Tempers were getting frayed. Since kilometre 144, I had to touch her bumpers to tell her I was there. You see that? It's not sport. I never saw him. Sousa's rally took a turn for the worse as his prop shaft failed and gearbox casing broke, losing him over 2 hours to not only lose 3rd, but 4th overall too. Giovanni Sala had his turn at the front to win another one for KTM. While speed was not the best way for Mioni, as he safely covered the miles to be always there, but more importantly, still in the lead. Teammate Jordi Arcarons was second, backing up Mioni. Stage 18, the stage from Bakel to Tambacounda. Jean-Louis Schlesser was meaning business right from the start of the stage.
300 mètres, poste.
He was passing the motorcycles with only inches to spare, but once he got to the finish, the co-driver said 1.8 kilometres to go, and Schlesser said, game over. Belgian Stefan Orard in his turbo diesel buggy had Jean-Pierre Fontenay caught up in the dust behind him, but Fontenay had already passed Gregoire de Mavius. De Mavius had pulled over, but Fontenay was not happy about being held up in Orard's dust. 180 kilometres we spent behind you. Can you see through your windscreen? Hiroshi Masuoka, though, sped through the stage to retain his overall lead. The Japanese was on course to be the first Japanese winner of the Dakar. Frenchman Cyril Desprez, the up-and-coming rider with the BMW squad, an Atlas Rally winner the year before, he won in the motorcycle section, whilst Fabrizio Mioni continued to keep a buffer of over 20 minutes. The 19th stage of the Dakar 2001, the stage from Tambacounda to Dakar itself. And what a controversial day it would be indeed. The two Schlesser buggies leapfrogged Masuoka in the starting zone and therefore were on the stage ahead of the Japanese Mitsubishi driver. In his haste, he took to the field to try and pass Servia, but it was not to be as he hit a tree stump, dislodging the rear left wheel. He struggled on for a further few kilometres, but in the end, it was not to be. He did eventually pass Servia with Schlesser ahead in the distance, but with only inches to spare of clipping trees, the wheel would only last a few more meters. In the end, it would go no further, and the furious co-driver Pascal Maimon leapt from the Mitsubishi and into the path of Servia. He was furious with the Spaniard's tactics, but it was a close-run thing. The lead had gone.
C'est qu'il a fait exprès de pointer en avance.
They were just in front of us, Servia and Schlesser, just to make a lot of dust. We passed them, but Servia pushed us aside, and we hit a tree stump.
Quand on a passé Servia, il nous a serré, on s'est pris une souche, et on a arraché la roue.
Fontenay assisted, but the lead had gone from Masuoka over to Schlesser. It is a tactic to start early, and we put pressure on Masuoka.
Notre japonais et ami malgré tout.
As the Eagles soared, it was Giovanni Sala's turn to win yet another stage for KTM. But it was not a good day for Sweden's PG Lundmark in the production class. He fell, he broke his wrist and dislocated his shoulder. But arriving at the finish of the penultimate stage of the Dakar with only 25 kilometers still to go, Mioni, he was beginning to celebrate. However, late that night, Jean-Louis Schlesser and Jose Maria Servia were docked a further 1 hour time penalty. It is an incorrect situation that has been created by Schlesser, and we are going to give him a 1 hour time penalty. And to his teammate Servia.
Une pénalité horaire d'1 heure à chacun de ces deux équipages.
The final stage of the 23rd running of the Paris-Dakar Rally saw an end-of-school photograph for all of the motorcycle riders. Hubert Auriol let them off down the beach with a flare in a mass start. But for Mioni, on board with him, he's saying, it's so difficult to be slow. I've got to be careful. But in the end, this is the finish.
Le premier au classement général.
Fabrizio Mioni, the Italian 43-year-old, wins his first Dakar. But for Portuguese Bernardo Villa, he was victorious in the production class and also inside the top 10. But the top 5 places were all KTM's.
Non sembra neanche vero per me.
It just does not seem true. It is a dream for me. 10 years of sacrifice have all come together today. For Jutta Kleinschmidt, it was no walk on the beach after not sleeping a wink that night. However, once she got into the swing of things, on the final few kilometers of nearly 11,000 kilometers from underneath the Eiffel Tower, the Dakar was finally hers. The first German and the first lady winner of the Dakar. She celebrated atop of the podium while Stefan Peter Hansel won T1.
Naja, klar bin ich glücklich. Also ich meine,
Sure, it's a great day for me. I've dreamed about winning the Dakar, and finally, it's come.
ich glaube, ich kapiere es noch nicht ganz, aber natürlich bin ich total glücklich. You was the best.
Thank you.
In the truck class, Carol Laprace was victorious with his Tatra. Fabrizio Mioni wins his first Dakar some 25 minutes ahead of Arcarons, Dugavado, Puyol and Cox. Whilst in the Kaj, Kleinschmidt, Masuoka, Schlesser, Servia and Souza.
Op die man af en is yourself for the ultimate test.